Hello everybody, Frankie here. Happy Monday in whatever way this Monday is finding you. This is something I've really been thinking about for the last few weeks, and I sat down and made a recording last week and it ended up very, very long and rambly, worse than some of my other ones. So I'm going to make a series for this topic. And I'm going to predominantly use the metaphor, the context of swimming. But to be very clear, this applies to any triathlon or multi-sport sport. And also I use this with my clients who are coming to me for voice lessons, acting lessons, movement lessons, and with my clients who are coming for me just for trauma support and healing and mental health. And I want to acknowledge, number one, most of my clients now are adults, although I've worked with children as well. And I was also a child with a lot of anxiety growing up from a very, very early age. And so when somebody, but especially I think adults are learning something new, it's very challenging because we have a fair amount of competency and hopefully confidence in certain things. And it can feel weird to suddenly be a beginner and to feel very uncoordinated or to not know and to feel a little bit lost. And that is why it is important to work with a coach, to work with a teacher, to work with somebody who has a lesson plan, who has support for you. But whether you're working with someone or not, here, there's going to be 5 things that I'm going to talk about. Today, I'm going to talk about 2. All right. And I have found this framework really helpful in working with clients, and different people will need a little bit of a different emphasis on a variety of these 5 things. All right. But number 1, do not pass go until you've addressed number 1, and that is safety. Do you feel safe in the water? Do you feel safe in an acting class? And yes, a lot of this work is inherently difficult. It is inherently challenging. Swimming is incredibly technical. It should not be unsafe. There's a difference between discomfort because this is new or I'm operating on my edge, and danger. And it's really important that the individual who is learning in this environment and the teacher, the coach, whomever, the facilitator, that both are aware of this, right? If this is dangerous, we are going to stop and we are going to address that. If this is an experience of discomfort, sometimes there's an adjustment, a modification we can make so there's a little less discomfort, and other times we embrace discomfort. And that is also why we can move into discomfort with a big whack load of resilience, setting up, having a great bandwidth and a level of trust so that we can go into discomfort knowing that we aren't going to be deeply harmed by it, okay? So number 1 is safety. And this might look like running through a couple of exercises initially that are about safety. So for example, swimming, we're going to start with a little bit of water safety. Hey, you can float. Even if you're tired, even if you're in the middle of the pool, let's work on floating. Let's establish floating as the precursor, the baby step, the fertile ground for swimming. Because swimming is not fighting gravity. Swimming starts with a body position that is essentially high in the water. And so working with my clients to embrace the fact that they know how to float and to experiment with different floating techniques in the water, different ways of arranging their body in the water is really useful. A part of safety and this will feed into step 2 as well, is also breathing. Because when we feel unsafe, our breath can change. Swimming is so built on breath, on cardiovascular fitness. So if anxiety is winding someone up and it is creating a really erratic breathing pattern, we need to address that by establishing a sense of safety. And also, that safety can come with knowing that the person who is coaching you is capable of doing whatever needs to happen if you get into a problem, if you get into an unsafe situation. But also, ultimately, and this will come up later, we want every individual swimmer, every individual client to know that they have the skills, the awareness, the choice to be able to keep themselves safe. Another aspect of safety is simply that my clients know our communication is very important. And so if I say, hey, I'd like you to do this, or this is the next thing in the program. And I love it when a client says to me, can I do this instead? Or can I have a moment to catch my breath? I'm not feeling ready. Or can I do, a 50 or 100 lying on my back or backstroking or just doing something that I'm more familiar with first, just to kind of recollect myself, right? So there's lots of options, and they're giving me feedback about how they're ready. Now, sometimes I might still push them a little bit. Yeah, you need a break. Let's do some active recovery. If my intent is to increase their fitness a little bit, to challenge their fitness a little bit. All right, let's do some active recovery. Or, okay, let's lengthen your recovery rest period a little bit in between these sets that we're doing, right? So with that trust and with the fact that I listen and adapt given what they're telling me, they also trust me to push them a little bit when it's the right time. So safety, closely related, if you're listening to what I'm saying, is number 2. And that is comfort. And again, yes, some of what we're doing is going to be inherently uncomfortable, but you need to start from a baseline of safety and comfort. Comfort is a little bit different to safety, but I don't think it's really possible to feel comfortable until you feel safe first. Comfort can be a coach-client relationship. Comfort can be, I did this really challenging thing last week, and so I know that I can do it again this week. So familiarity can bring comfort. Comfort can be, hey, let's do some dry land warm-up activities first and then get you into the water. Or let's do this stroke that you are really familiar with, that you feel really good about, before we challenge you with a stroke that maybe you feel a little less comfortable with or a little less sure of yourself with, right? And again, I hope that you can see how this framework applies to other scenarios as well. We'll talk about the next ones next week. But start with safety and comfort. So if you are an athlete or an artist or a human being in the world that has taken on some new things, I want you to check in with yourself and figure out where you are in terms of how safe do you feel? Do you feel equipped? Do you have the gear that you need to keep you safe? Simple as, when I ride my bike, I wear a helmet. I also have my road ID bracelet so that if I get into an accident, I know that anyone who finds me, even if I'm not able to communicate, they'll know things like my name and my emergency contact and some health information, right? So there's some practical safety things. When I swim, open water, no matter what, even if it's silly, even if it's a shallow area, whatever, I wear my little floaty buoy that attaches around my waist and sits up on top of the water to show where I am. Because sometimes you can't see me very well, right? So those are some practical things like equipment that can help with safety. Safety can also be a set of behaviors. For example, am I telling someone where I'm going? Am I, does my partner have the ability to use the Find My Phone app or something to be able to find me if I don't show up later that day? Safety can be, there are swimmers who like to swim in the lane nearest the wall because they know they have the wall there to grab, and they also know that they have a ladder there that they can climb out from. And also they might want to swim closer to where the lifeguard's sitting if that helps to give them a sense of safety, okay? And then comfort may feel a little bit more elusive in certain ways, but it's really important to do a body check-in to just go like, how is my breathing? Do I feel tense in my body? Can I make this experience start from a place of comfort? That's also why we do warm-ups, right? Make the warm-up really comfortable. Go slow. Focus on your breathing. Focus on the things that you're familiar with. Then the hard work can follow. All right? So on that note, and already this is super long, two things. You can see why I'm breaking this down. So we start from a place of safety and comfort. And then if you're coaching someone, if you're teaching somebody, how can you apply this framework to what you do? How can you be aware of your client and your client's breathing and body language? What message are they sending you with their physiology that's telling you about their state of safety and comfort? You can put the pressure on later, but you need to start with a foundation of safety and comfort, where the client knows that you're in communication and you're taking their feedback, and then you're going to respond appropriately. Whether that means, hey, I know it's really hard right now. I need you to dig deep for me. We're almost there. You're going to find that extra gear. You're going to find that next level. We're going to move through that wall. Or, you know what? You're right. Let's take a beat. I've even had several situations. I've done this myself. I've even had clients where I'm like, let's get out of the water. Let's go for a walk. And then we kind of clear our heads and we get back in the water. There's always a solution. As I like to say, there's always a creative solution. I might not know what it is immediately, but I know that we can figure it out. So, here's to safety and comfort from an intensity addict and endurance athlete. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you all again soon.